Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Caleb King. I'm a software developer, and in this video, we're going to be talking about what is Web 3.0. Now, if you liking the content we're producing here, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and go check us out over at the podcast. We just released an episode explaining what is the metaverse in depth, so I highly encourage you to check that out. Thanks. All right, what is Web 3.0? So if you're following business or finance news outlets, or even more so if you're following tech news outlets, tech Twitter, it's virtually impossible not to hear about Web 3.0. But what the heck does it even mean? Well, let's first break down the history between the difference of Web 1.0, 2.0, then 3.0. Web 1.0. This refers to an era of the internet where most websites built were pretty much static. Static means that the content was mostly written by website owners, web designers, web developers. Your boy used to be a PHP developer, so like think of old school developers. And it didn't really change unless the website creator changed it. So similar to a book, the website was built, visitors read the content on the site, and the content remained unchanged. So this was like the most prevalent type of website from the very beginning of like the internet boom around like the mid 90s to about 2005. And then pretty much right after 2005 is when like social media just changed the game forever. Web 2.0. This refers to an era where we are now. Most websites are dynamic, meaning the majority of the content on the website is entered by users. The most prevalent form of this social media that we're all familiar with, MySpace, shout out Tom, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Medium, Twitch, LinkedIn, all these messaging sites, WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, Slack, WeChat, they've all adopted similar formats, expanding from simply a messaging service to a social media site. Search engines, Google, e-commerce websites, Amazon, entertainment streaming services, Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, they've all developed in a similar dynamic fashion where the content is based and tailored around the user. This made it possible through the collection of tremendous volumes of data, and these volumes of data are massive assets to companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon, and these companies have used this data to make billions. That's why when you ever notice when Facebook has a leak, they're like, oh, data was leaked. It's never their data. It's always our data. Why is that? You ever actually ask that question? Because I know I do. These big tech companies are centralized data banks, and they can remove anyone from their platform. So there has been a lot of protests over these facts. I mean, we've all seen some of these companies in the news. We've seen Zuckerberg on Capitol Hill. We've seen the CEO of Google. We've seen Microsoft get in the news. People are kind of like, hey, we used to really support tech companies because they were changing the world, but now they're like these huge, large corporations, and you might hear some people say Facebook is evil, Google is evil, Amazon's evil, Apple's evil. That's just kind of how people perceive these companies today. It's unfortunate because I don't think they're necessarily evil, but it does bring up the fact of data privacy. Like, is there a better way to do this? That leads me into Web 3.0. This vision of Web 3.0 is to take the best parts of Web 2.0, but decentralize them. So instead of a central corporation as a gatekeeper, build out social media networks where individuals control their own data, their own following. They actually have control of what's going on. The biggest barrier to implementing Web 3.0 is that it's difficult to implement in practice. The largest, most profitable corporation in the history of Earth control Web 2.0. They also employ the largest and best networks of computer programmers, including myself. So while they might not exactly be excited to give up control, because think about it, if you're a company and you're making money, why would I let people go? You hear Meta, you hear Amazon, you hear these FANG companies. Yeah, total compensation, $200,000, $500,000, almost $1 million. You go watch some of these awesome YouTubers, they are literally telling you like, yeah, the money's out there. You can go out there and get it. So why decentralize Web 2.0? You might be asking. Here are some benefits of Web 3.0 and some differences between centralized systems and decentralized systems. One being data privacy. Centralized systems like Facebook, Google, Twitter, or even Amazon, they store a massive amount of personal data. Decentralized systems could allow users to use a system without providing any personal data. I'm going to try to say this. Sovereignty? I think I said that right. That's a hard one. But Data sovereignty, similar to data privacy, this covers the concept of who owns your personal data. While you might be willing to share your private information online for the benefit of opting into a great user experience, most were unpleasantly surprised to learn that companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon, they make billions. That's billions with a B, y'all. Selling your personal data. Yes, you might have been buying something off Amazon.com, but they're making so much more money on top of what you just gave them to buy the product. It's crazy. Decentralized systems would allow the user to sell their own data and make income off their own data. One example is the Brave browser. If you aren't familiar, there's Chrome, there's Safari, there's Opera. There's a web browser out there called Brave, which rewards users in what's known as BAT tokens, which is a cryptocurrency token built on Ethereum. Censorship and gatekeepers. Over the past year, a number of social media platforms has censored, deplatformed, demonetized. Just demonetizing people based off their political beliefs. If you live in America, Trump or Biden, doesn't even matter. You have to be careful what you said on social media because might have been flagged, might have been taken down, you might have actually cost yourself a bag. Or even worse, some instances seem to have been so accidentally or purely arbitrary. One famous influencer who hosts a YouTube show called The Best Business Show, I can't remember his name, but investigated this recently. He did an interview where the subject of Bitcoin and inflation were discussed. The episode was removed and labeled as dangerous content. He was threatened to have his channel closed down completely, which has over 300,000 subscribers. He took to Twitter, complained loud enough that numerous US government officials supported his call for help. And when YouTube finally explained the situation to him, it appeared that it was a mistake. Interesting. A random employee pushed a button labeling the content as dangerous. It was not based on any published company policies, did not have to be approved by any official or public officials of the companies. Creators can literally have their livelihood removed. Like, y'all, I love making content. I love speaking in front of a mic. I love the animation. You guys know I like anime, so I do a little animation on the side. But it is demoralizing and it is horrible. It is very anxiety inducing when big companies can just shut down your whole livelihood for a specific reason or possibly no reason at all. Just an accident, I would be flustered, I can tell you that. Most creators would prefer not to have an unknown person with or without authority or reason simply to be able to turn a light switch on and off and cut off their livelihood. Decentralized systems could pretty much be programmed. You can program these rules and they will be enforced by a computer, not by a person. Another reason people like Web 3.0, increased network security. A major benefit of the network itself is increased security. The most famous example of decentralized computer network is, you guessed it, Bitcoin. It has better security than a centralized computer network because a centralized network has a single point of failure. So to hack a company's server requires hacking just one location. To hack Bitcoin, good luck. You have to hack the Bitcoin network, which require hacking 51% of the network, which is in locations in countless areas across the planet. So anything really connected to the internet, good luck. Web 3.0 project. There are numerous Web 3.0 projects. Based on the fact that cryptocurrency was the first massive global use case of decentralized computer networks, Web 3.0 is closely tied into cryptocurrency. It is what it is. But as you just learned, they're not necessarily the same, right? But one envision can kind of show you the next vision, financial networks, social networks, all these types of tools we use today can be decentralized. The Web 3.0 projects are being built on Bitcoin, Ethereum, other blockchains. One of the projects is the Web 3.0 Foundation, which works with Polkadot and I believe it's pronounced the Kusama blockchain. Guys, there's many projects out there. I highly suggest if you're a software developer to probably research, look into Web 3.0, get familiar with blockchain, not just the high level of understanding how to explain it to maybe your mom or dad, but if you're a software developer, there's a lot of opportunity to not only get in Web 3.0, but there's so many companies trying to do Web 3.0 stuff and there's not enough developers who know it. So the decentralized world of Web 3.0 is wide open to you. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. To try to keep it short and concise. If you're enjoying the content, you gotta know what to do. If you have questions, you want to see a part 2, all I want you to do is tell me what you want to know. What should I cover in the next video in the comments below? That's all I got for you. I'm out. Peace.